hunger is not a reliable guide in this situation.
Range Wilson, Fitness, Comedy, Life. The truth about fitness.
When I was planning my series of videos on the basics of weight loss, I was initially going to dive deep into metabolism at this point, with all kinds of graphs and charts and numbers and so on. But then I realized that I've already said everything I have to say about the subject, and all those graphs and numbers and data really wouldn't help you, the viewer, all that much. So instead, today I'm going to talk about the reasons why most diets fail. The number one reason most diets fail is that people eat too much. Now that might sound blindingly obvious, but I mean that in the particular sense that they eat too many calories because they have no idea how many calories they're supposed to be eating. Instead, they're eating healthier, whatever that means, or they're following the latest fad diet, or they're doing a cleanse, or they're fasting on Tuesdays and alternate Thursdays, or who knows what else. But none of those things tend to work unless you get lucky, because none of those things acknowledge the importance of the total calories you are eating. And without knowing how many calories they are supposed to be eating, people are not taking charge of their own diet. They're making changes, but without any real direction or purpose, and they're just hoping that somehow it all works and they end up losing weight. Unfortunately, that never actually seems to happen all that often. If you want to avoid that trap, make sure you set a calorie target and do your best to stick to it. Forget about all the other nonsense that continually gets thrown your way by people who are trying to sell you stuff. The second reason most diets fail is because people do not take them seriously enough. They fall into the trap of thinking that dieting is all about denial. You're not eating. How hard could that be? But framing a diet in terms of denial hardly ever seems to work. Instead, think of dieting as an activity like any other. You have to plan it out. You have to make it a priority. You have to keep it at the forefront of your mind so that you don't mindlessly chow down during the day because you're not paying attention. You have to make the time to prepare your own meals, or at least to understand how many calories are in the meals that you do not prepare. If your life is crazy and you try and add dieting on top of that, you are virtually certain to fail. Instead, get your life more under control first, and then add dieting in when you have the time and energy to devote to it. Diets can also fail from a longer-term perspective. You may lose weight for a while on a diet, but then end up gaining it all back very quickly after you end the diet. This is called yo-yo dieting, and there are two main reasons for it. The first is that if you diet without exercising, you will lose muscle along with the fat. That will reduce your metabolism. So then once you come off the diet and go back to eating the way you were used to, the pounds are going to pack right back on because your daily need for calories has gone down substantially. The solution to this problem is obvious. Exercise along with your diet. And the best exercise by far to maintain and even increase your muscle mass is weight training. I have a whole series of videos on weight training. You don't have to spend much time in the gym to get great results if you follow my approach. The second reason for yo-yo dieting is something called the feast or famine effect. For most of human history, there was either too much food at any given time or not enough. And when there was not enough food, people would have to get by as best they could and would typically lose weight. Then when there was a surplus of food, they would pack on the pounds as fast as possible so that they could then survive the next famine. Today's world, when you come off a diet, your body might very likely kick into that feast or famine effect, and you'll end up being tempted to pig out anytime you see food. This effect can be very powerful, as I can attest to personally. The first time I came off a diet, I gained 15 pounds in a matter of days. But I learned from that experience. Now when I come off a diet, I'm very careful to still keep my calories under control. You want to eat right around your maintenance range for a good 6 to 8 weeks when you come off the diet. Now the weird thing is, you may be hungrier during that phase than you actually were during the diet itself. but hunger is not a reliable guide in this situation. Keep those calories under control until your body adjusts, and then you can have a little extra here and there when your body's not going to try and inhale 10,000 calories given the slightest excuse. So that wraps up my initial series about the basics of weight loss. In my next few fitness videos, I'm going to return to weight training and talk about advanced weight training principles and programs. These videos will be of most interest to those who have already made substantial progress with their weight training. But beginners might also be interested if you have the time, energy, and motivation to take on a more challenging program right from the start. Until then, like, comment, share, and/or subscribe. My name is Range Wilson, and I'll see you next time.